nippy little bike, like it. Well, hello everyone, welcome back. And you join me today. I am out on a bit of a ride with the good folks from Chorley Yamaha, where I'd recently purchased my MT-07 SP. They've very kindly invited me along to their Easter weekend event, where they are running test rides of all their current fleet, and they've invited me along to test ride a couple of their bikes today. And for this first one, I am very pleased to be riding the new MT-07. Now, I actually specifically wanted to ride this bike because I've ridden both the MT-10 SP and the MT-09 SP. So much I like the MT-09 SP so much I bought it. But I'm mindful that a lot of my videos tend to be on larger capacity bikes, and I have been asked to do this one by a couple of people in comments and in posts. So it's interesting to now ride something which is more of an entry-level bike, more akin to what someone starting out in the motorcycle journey is likely to buy for their first bike, or indeed in fact learn upon. Because in the UK, so long as you attain the requisite age, you can buy this bike as soon as you pass your test. In fact, you can even take your test upon one of these, and that will then entitle you to ride any bike. But this is reputed to be a good bike to start if you're complete ab initio into motorcycling. So let's talk about the Yamaha MT-07. This is a 2018 variant, and this is a nice brand new demonstrator from Chorley Yamaha. And straight away I've got to say, I feel quite comfortable on this. I quite like it, and I've only come about a mile from the shop and already I'm kind of liking this little bike. It's something like a 683cc machine. It's a parallel twin, and I have tried to memorise the figures for it, but what I shall do, I shall put them on the screen right now. Now, historically, I've never really been a big fan of parallel twin engines. I've owned quite a few of them in my life, and without going too deep into the engineering of this, the reason why I particularly haven't enjoyed parallel twins in the past is because they have, I think they class it as a 180-degree firing order, where one piston's up firing, one piston's down, then that one exhausts. So it's a very, always found them personally to be boring, very sort of vibey and boring. Whereas this one, it seems to be the current trend to make parallel twins a 270-degree firing order, which makes it more akin to a V-twin, which straight away I can tell from just the first twist of the throttle that this has got a very, very interesting engine. It's got character to it, which V-twins tend to have, and I've owned a couple of V-twins in the past, not many, but one of them was the Suzuki SV650 quite a few years ago, and I used to love riding that because it had character, and this has got, straight away, it's got a nice bit of torque. It's not pulling your arms out your sockets, but I'm here in 5th gear and this bike still wants to go. This little 683 or whatever it is, it's still got plenty of get up and go underneath it. Now the seating position, very, very neutral. It's quite a small little bike compared to, say, the MT-09. Not massively smaller, but appreciably smaller. It's got a very short reach to the bars, and you are sat bolt upright, and your legs are kind of semi tucked in underneath you, so it's not exactly a plodding seat position. You could get quite sporty on it, but it's more comfortable than anything else. It's definitely a seat you could sit on, or a position you could sit in all day and feel quite comfortable. The seat feels very similar to the MT-09. It's quite hard, but to me it's not uncomfortably hard, because whatever foam or gel material is in the seat is actually, it does conform to your backside without displacing a lot of it. So I find it quite comfortable, that style of seat. Not everyone might, you know, some people might prefer a more plush seat, but I prefer a more harder seat, because I've got a bit of a hard backside, to be honest. So to me it's nice, but not everyone will find the seat particularly comfortable for a long period of time. Now this is only a little test ride first impressions video, so I can't really go into any great detail about the bike. This is just mainly what I think about it from this little short half-hour little jaunt around the Lancashire countryside that we're having now. But if I was 19, well, I'd have to be in my sort of 20s in this country. If I was in my 20s, just passed my test, and I was looking for my first bike, and the bike had to be a number of things to me. It had to be my main transport, it would have to be something I would ride for fun, and maybe travel a little bit on it. And I think this is kind of ticking the boxes for all those things, because as a mode of transport it's absolutely great. It's got a very user-friendly engine. You know, you don't have to stir the gearbox to get it to move. It's got a very pleasant amount of torque. You know, you don't have to worry about being kept up in traffic on this, because it will go. It's got plenty of pickup. It handles really nice. Considering that it's got non-adjustable, non-inverted front forks and a pretty generic rear shock, I think that Yamaha, straight from the factory, have done quite a good job of springing this bike for, you know, the majority of people. I mean, I'm something in the region of 90 kilos, near 100, fully dressed. You know, I'm like 15 stone in my underpants and socks, to give it in the old imperial measure. And the bike is not struggling with my weight. If I hit the brakes now, there's a little bit of dive, but not a great amount. The bike seems to cope perfectly well. So, you know, this bike could handle someone heavier than me, and it could certainly, I'm sure it'd be absolutely fantastic with someone of a lighter weight on it. Yeah, this same thing with this bloody instrument cluster. The same thing I find on my MT-09 is the horn button and the indicator cancellation button is very, very close. She feels remarkably lightweight, something in the order of 183 kilograms wet, which is a nice and light machine, which makes this little parallel twin motor feel like it pulls even more. So it's got good power to weight. So as well as this bike goes, and she does go well, how does it stop? Well, it's not got any fancy trick brakes or anything. It's just the Yamaha standard 4-pot calipers on twin discs up front, and the front brakes, yeah, there's plenty of bite in them, more than enough. The rear brake feels, yeah, yeah, there's plenty of stopping power there. The pedal seems to have quite a bit of travel, which I would prefer a more sharper rear brake personally, but it's one of those things that it is what it is and you would just get used to it. It's got anti-lock brakes in it because it's Euro 4 compliant, so obviously I can't lock the brakes up, but without using any front brake, nothing behind me, if I stamp on that rear brake, the anti-lock braking starts to activate. So yeah, it's got plenty of brakes, certainly enough for what this bike has been designed and intended to be used for. Cockpit wise, it's got this fully comprehensive LCD screen which tells you everything you need to know. It's not all singing, all dancing, remote controlled TFT, and it has, as I say, it's got non-adjustable forks, non-adjustable rear suspension, and this is probably all shouting out, oh, rubbish. Well, it's actually not. You've got to bear in mind who this bike is aimed at. This bike is aimed at the ab initio rider coming into motorcycling, possibly someone in their like 20s who's, you know, maybe not have quite the disposable income, who wants a good affordable transport. And things like full colour TFTs, that's obviously going to be on your more premium marques, but this LCD display tells you everything you could possibly need to know. It's got a tachograph at the bottom, so you know what your RPMs are. It's got a fuel gauge on it, which is always a nice little touch. Speed is shown in big bold numbers, so there's no mistaking that. And it has the same adjustment ranges as it's on the MT-09, so you've got 2 trip computers, MPG, average MPG, which is currently showing 60 MPG outside there. So yeah, it tells you everything you need to know. And even this particular little bike that I'm on today is done 29 miles. Bless it. So yeah, so it's not an all singing, all dancing TFT, but it does tell you everything you need to know in a quick and easy to glance at display. Pretty much all you need, really. Elsewhere, the mirrors they look to be the same that are on my MT-09, but on this one I seem to have a better view behind me. On the MT-09 I seem to see a lot of elbow and shoulder, whereas on this one I actually can see, yeah, they are perfectly usable. If you will, and it's just my style of riding it, but I'm in 6th gear. If you let the revs get a little bit too low and it gets a bit lumpy, the mirrors do shake a bit, but that's because I probably need to put it down a gear. So yes. And on the gears, they are very smooth, which you just got to expect on a Yamaha. I've always found Yamaha gears to be very smooth. The clutch is very, very lightweight. You know, it takes no effort to pull it in, and it's got a nice, not early biting point, but it's at the biting points right where you want it, right where you'd expect it to be, so you're not getting caught out by that. You know, you don't have to learn where the bite point is, it's just naturally where it should be. And everything is pretty much as it is, everything's within reach. There's no power modes on this, no rider modes. It is just a good old rider day motorbike, and a good one it is at that. It has a 14 litre fuel tank, and if it's doing anything like mid to high 60s, especially on a motorway, which I'm not sure I'll get to go on today, but this is gonna be a very economical machine to ride. but it's going to be a bit light on the pocket to purchase and insure. And as for purchasing, I don't know the exact to the pound on the road price for this, which I will now put on the screen now. This price is as of spring 2018, and for that money you pretty much get a good, solid, everyday usable bike that will not let you down and will not break the bank and won't leave you wanting more. It's one of those bikes that, you know, if the style matches what you want, if the performance is what you're after, you're not really going to get bored of this bike, because it's got quite a lot going for it. It's nimble, it's nippy, despite its budget suspension. It handles well, the brakes stop you perfectly, the engine's got lovely character, just feels like a little V-twin. It's great. You know, I'd like to be able to sort of try and pick up some negatives on it, but any negatives that I pick up on are down to the pricing strategy of this bike. Yeah, it would be nice to have adjustable suspension, it would be nice to have TFT displays and fancy brakes, but this is not what this bike's about. This is a mode of transport that will lead you into the world of bikes in a very comfortable and reliable way. So anything that I have to pick up on negative is kind of unfair, because I can't fault its suspension, because for all its budgetness, it's actually very good. It does the job it's supposed to do. The brakes, perfectly adequate. The engine, peach. Lovely little engine, this. Great little engine. So the only things, and I've got to be very, very picky about it, just from the riding point of view, is this left-hand switchgear, which is the same as on the MT-09. The fact that the horn button is too close to the indicator button, so of course you hit it. As an objective thing to, like, fault to look for, that's quite literally the only one I can find on this machine. Because as I say, everything else is a budgeted, you know, limitation, and it is a budget entry-level bike, which you have to remember, because not everyone can afford, you know, expensive Ducatis or even something like the MT-09 SP. But for what this bike costs, it rewards you, pays you back in sheer utility and fun. Great little bike. However, as non-partisan as I like my channel to be, recently I've had nothing but good experiences with Yamaha. I've always been a bit of a Yamaha cheerleader, I'm not going to deny that. I've owned many of them in my life, and even though, you know, several years ago Yamaha's range went a little bit through the doldrums, they are really, really pulling it back with this MT range. I've ridden the 7, the 9 and the 10. Not a bad bike to be found amongst them. Now, I always like to do a bit of a walk around on my test ride first impression videos, and today's no different. It's just obviously going to be a little tricky to do it whilst I'm in a convoy on an organised ride. So in a particular TV style, here's one I prepared earlier. So let's have a little walk around of the 2018 MT-07. I think she's quite a pretty bike. You know what I mean? For a sort of budget entry-level machine, very, very stylish. It's got that classic, well, now classic looking sort of MT line. That nice angular poise. All the lines seem to point you towards the front of the bike. And I quite like the way they've managed to tuck away all that Euro 4 exhaust under the swing arm pivot, which is very similar to the MT-09. And as I say, We've got conventional non-inverted, non-adjustable forks, but for all that they're actually sprung very well. And the Yamaha generic 4-pot stoppers on the twin discs, on these nice kind of wavy discs, do an absolutely belting job. Absolutely no problem stopping this machine whatsoever. It's got that similar sort of MT-09 front end, but it's not got the nice sort of bug-like eyes, which is more in keeping with the 2016 downwards model, I think, but still a nice look. Metalwork's really nice on Yamaha. I've always been a bit of a fan of the quality of the fit and finish on a Yamaha. But you know, how nice is that for an entry-level bike? Look at it. This nice kind of copper, not copper, but kind of burnish sort of dark gold almost engine cover. Very nice. I say very spacious, nice low seat height on it. I mean, I'm 6'1" and a bit, and I can completely flat foot this machine, no problem there. Yeah, very stylish, nice machine. The rear brake caliper's a single pot unit from Nissin, that does a perfectly adequate job. And shod in these Battle Axe BT-023, I don't know what they are, but they're a sports touring tyre, it would say. But yeah, quite a pretty little bike, gotta say. In summary, the 2018 Yamaha MT-07, an affordable, good everyday bike with good brakes, reasonable equipment, and a punchy little parallel twin engine that swears that it's a V-twin. Bags of character and loads of fun. If you're in the market for a bike of this class, then you certainly need to check this one out. It's a little beauty, and I really do wish that there had been bikes like this when I was first setting out, because they are so much better than they used to be. Build quality is up there, usability is up there, and it's a fun bike. It's fun in the way that old mid-capacity bikes weren't. Yeah, so I would recommend one of these if you're in the market and just setting out on your motorcycle adventure. Very good. Sorry I couldn't go into any greater detail with it. It's only a little short first impressions test ride video. But if you have any more questions about this bike, what I thought of it, what I may have probably have missed out in the video, please comment in the section below and let me know what you think. And thanks again to Chorley Yamaha for allowing me to ride this bike today and inviting me out on their little event. I mean, like everyone, I have a choice in the dealers that I buy my motorcycles off, and I am now on my third brand new bike from Chorley Yamaha, and I will point out that there are two nearer Yamaha dealers to my house than this one, and in some cases by a considerable amount. So read from that what you will, but basically, yeah, I trust Chorley Yamaha. So if you're in the northwest of England and you're looking for a good deal on a Yamaha or a second-hand machine, then you'd do a lot worse than checking them out. So have a look in the description section, and I'll link you to their website and their Facebook, and just go along and have a visit. Tell them Veefour sent you. We'll sort you out. Right, okay everyone, well that's about it for this little video today. So please feel that you may feel at ease to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. See you later, bye bye.